Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now, today I want to talk about Jasmy because obviously, we've been talking a lot about AI agents, a lot of that type of stuff recently. Basically, everybody's been talking almost exclusively about AI and AI agents recently. And so I want to talk a little bit today about how does Jasmy fit into this? Because in my opinion, I think it's very, very clear to see how Jasmy fits into this larger AI picture. And so I want to go over that today, just in case any of you, maybe you're new to Jasmy or you're not really maybe you have some questions of if Jasmy's still relevant, how they could fit into this, all that type of stuff. So we're going to go over that today because I think it's really, really good to know about. And it's important that we understand essentially how Jasmy could fit into this larger picture, as well as, in my opinion, Jasmy is in the right place at the right time. Now, basically, all they have to do is deliver. I mean, kind of how things have unfolded just as AI has and kind of just by, I guess, way of chance. I think Jasmy is actually sitting in a really, really strong position because of what they're trying to do within some of the major needs that are arising within the crypto space, within just AI in general. It's really, really important. So I think Jasmy's sitting in the right spot. We just need to make sure that they can actually deliver on what their goal and their vision is. So anyway, let's not waste any more time. Let's go on ahead, jump right into crypto bubbles, and we can check out actually that we're seeing a lot of pullbacks today on some of these AI and AI agent projects. Otherwise, a pretty mixed day in the market. It does look like it is a little bit more red than green, but we are seeing some greens here and there. So a pretty mixed day overall. We can see, still pretty deep red on the week and also pretty deep red on the month as well. Some of these larger projects like Virtual's AI16Z move, getting peeled very, very far back. I mean, BGB is kind of really the only one that's up a substantial amount anymore. But what we can see, definitely just kind of an overall pullback within the crypto space. I don't think that is too crazy just because of all all the insane moves that we've seen. If we do go and we look at the total too, I've been referring back to this chart fairly frequently over the past several videos that I have made, just because I do think it's very important to see what we are looking at. And what we are looking at is a consolidation up at this higher level after we've seen this really strong move to the upside. I mean, we could see here just over a month of basically uninterrupted moves to the upside. And so now that we have seen that, we are starting to kind of consolidate, find our new lows, find our new levels of supports, things like that. And then we are going to start to make that continued move to the upside. Again, hopefully it is crypto. Nobody ever knows for sure, but at least that's what it's looking like to me so far. Now, moving on, let's take a quick look at the Jasmy chart because we can see something similar happening to Jasmy. Obviously, we saw that move to the upside. We have kind of found this level of support here at about the 3-cent range. Price coming down and hitting this level of support multiple times. We can see it's looking like we may be breaking below it a little bit. But as we've talked about before, this isn't usually a hard and fast line. It's more of a zone. And so I would say anything kind of above 3 cents is I would say the support still holds intact, but you can see, we are consolidating a lot. We are kind of coming down on this lower support level, especially given the general level of, or just poor sentiment that we are seeing within the crypto space. I do think it is possible that we potentially break through this support and head a little bit lower just because there is a little bit of people are upset, people are frustrated, people are impatient, a lot of this different type of stuff, just because we haven't seen too much moving in the crypto space so far. But overall, at least as of now, things are still looking okay. We are seeing the Bollinger Bands kind of squeeze a little bit. Again, when we do see Bollinger Bands squeeze, we should at least be looking forward to the possibility of increased volatility. Again, I'm not saying it goes up or down. It's just that's usually when we see these Bollinger Bands squeeze, we are going to be seeing an increased period of volatility. So again, which direction that goes, no way to know for sure, but that is kind of what we're looking at. If you are wanting to trade Jasmy or Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, anything like that, you can feel free to use my link to BTCC in the link in the description below. They are still doing those 10% bonuses on first-time deposits, which in my opinion, really, really good deal. If you are looking for a place to trade, you might as well get 10% free money if you ask me. Also, extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user. So again, tons of money that they're throwing at you just for getting signed up if that is something you're interested in. Also, they have been around for 13 years, so not too much of a risk of them being a here today, gone tomorrow type of exchange. Also, 300 plus crypto futures if this is something you are interested in. And then also 500x leverage. Again, I'd strongly discourage you using leverage this high just because I would basically kind of chalk it up to gambling. But if you have some sort of strategy that you found that works and it requires that for whatever reason, then they do have that available to you as well. Also, no VPN or KYC necessary if that is something that's important to you. So like I said, if you are interested, just go ahead and check out that link in the description description below. Now, moving on, I want to take a quick look at Jasmy's ecosystem, give us all a reminder. It's been probably at least over a month since we've looked at this, kind of how the Jasmy ecosystem works. And then I'm going to explain why I think this is so important and how it could be a game changer both for the Jasmy ecosystem as well as just kind of the world. And it could be something that's very, very popular and used in pretty great adoption. Now, we'll give some caveats on that here in a second, but what we can see is, so you essentially are generating data. And then with that data, you then essentially put it in like your personal data locker. And then if there is somebody trying to come around who's wanting to use your data, then they can essentially go to like the Jasmy exchange. They will essentially pay you Jasmy coins for using your data, and they obviously pay the Jasmy coins to you for that. And then I think Jasmy actually takes like some level of interchange there. But the big thing is like you essentially are generating data and you contribute it to your personal data locker, and then they can actually come to your personal data locker and use your data if that is something that they're looking for. And so let me explain why this is important. And this really all comes back to AI again, because with AI, the most important thing that we need is training data, right? And obviously, like with training data, most of where people are getting it right now is from data brokers. It's our data that has been, stolen from us, in my opinion, in some capacity, and then they're using that data to train their AI models. Well, now obviously there's like this arms race for getting the most data possible, the cleanest data possible, and like where do you find that, right? And so right now, I think that's why we're seeing a really strong opportunity for things like Jasmy. Obviously, there's tons of other projects trying to capture on the same thing just because it's such a massive need. But Jasmy essentially is like sitting in the place that everybody's looking for the next probably $1 trillion solution, is because if somebody can figure out essentially how to collect and parse and sort and monetize real good clean data, that is a massively valuable thing. And basically anybody who wants to train a high quality AI is going to be coming to your product to find that data. And so that's why I think this is so important. This is why I'm saying that Jasmy is kind of at like the right place at the right time, because of all of like essentially the data that's needed for AI. And so that's why this is so important. Also, because data is so important in AI, we actually saw a tweet from Elon come out, I think it was about a couple weeks ago at this point, but he had basically said something to the degree of like, all of human data that we have on record has already been used in training AI. And so that means there's kind of one of two options, or potentially even both, right? Options going forward. First one is we need to find really, really efficient ways where we can collect as much data as humanly possible from anybody and everybody doing basically everything. Now, to you, that may sound a little bit dystopian. I would agree if we can't control what data that we want to contribute, if we can control the data that we want to contribute and the amount of data that we want to contribute and all that type of stuff, then I think, in my opinion, this becomes a little bit more, or at least a little bit less dystopian, and that's where I do think Jasmy comes in. But also there's the other side of that too, which is, now there's the possibility of training on synthetic data, right? And synthetic data is essentially data created by AI. And so that data essentially just goes and turns around and gets fed right back into the AI. So essentially you could think about it like this, let's say we're wanting to train an AI on dogs for whatever reason. And we've essentially been through all of the pictures of dogs that we have on the internet. So every single picture of dogs that have ever existed, AI has seen them. And so obviously, if we need more pictures of dogs, there's the possibility that we could be using synthetic data, which is essentially AI generating pictures of dogs based on the pictures of dogs that it already has. And then those synthetic pictures, or those like AI generated pictures of dogs, then go into the training data. And you could potentially run into this like almost like mean reversion based on like a lot of the like work I do in the real world with finance and things. You can see kind of if you build like a model that goes out far enough, if you're essentially taking averages of averages, the average kind of reverts back to like one number, which is the average of all the averages that you're taking. And so I think that we could see something like this happening if we use too much synthetic data as well, which could produce some unintended consequences, because essentially if we're taking averages of all the averages, eventually we get down to just the one number, right? And so, that is something where that could potentially be maybe not risky, but it could have some unforeseen consequences consequences or unforeseen circumstances based on, kind of the data that we're putting in there, especially if, right now, maybe we only have billions of data points. If we get to, tens or hundreds of trillions of data points, there could be the point in time where the synthetic data vastly outstrips the real data, and that could essentially skew some results that we're seeing, which could be a little bit interesting because we essentially get to a little bit of an echo chamber there. So anyway, that's why I think Jasmy is so important, is because I think that real, verifiable, valid data is going to be massively more valuable than synthetic data because of the reasons that I just explained. And so the fact that Jasmy is essentially in this position is super, super good news. Now comes the hard part, right? I mean, they kind of have gotten lucky in the sense that the narrative, or just the path of history, has kind of moved in their direction, which is really, really good to see. But now they have to do the hard part, which is actually deliver on this vision that they've shown us and sold all of us and everything like that, and now actually build out on it. And if they can build out on it, obviously, it's going to be massively valuable for all of us who are invested in Jasmy, as well as Jasmy, the Jasmy ecosystem itself, as well as the world, right? I think people being able to own their data and control which pieces of data that they want to contribute to, the larger ecosystem, I guess you could say. This is all very, very important and valuable in my opinion. And so anyway, hopefully you agree. Hopefully you also found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and a subscribe, because it really, really does help me out. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything that you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.